like, hey. I don't know, we're just like always laughing because like we have discussions before we start rolling. But welcome back
welcome.
to Cheers One Chat. We are your hosts, Derry Cox.
Rudolph Thurman.
And we want to we're gonna start our conversation in a minute. We're talking about molestation and those content within molestation and what is like sexual. It's kind of like sexual assault.
Yeah.
And we're also going to share our books with you.
Yes.
My 2 books are available wherever books are sold. It's The Scars I Come With and The Child Within.
And my books are Pages of Potency and Visual Revelations. You can get them on Amazon.
Yay! And welcome back to a second episode for 2023. We are honored and feel very privileged to be back here in the studio. We always like to shout out the Long Studio and the amazing people over here. The ambience is really, really great. The environment is really great.
Warm and welcoming.
Yes, very welcoming. And we love to be here doing our podcast. Remember, we are on YouTube. We're also on Instagram at 2 Chairs 1 Chat. That's the number 2 Chairs, number 1 Chat. Find us on YouTube. Remember to subscribe, like, and share with everybody and their mothers. We do have a lot of interesting conversation, and we will continue to bring you a lot of good content. We normally sit and discuss what we're going to talk about, anything that we have on our mind, and we always come to the agreement of that set or given topic, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about molestation, and it's kind of like another word for sexual assault.
Yeah.
Right? And sexual assault is any type of sexual contact, behavior, or activity that occurs without the free and explicit consent of all parties involved. It's a crime. It affects people physically, mentally, emotionally, and behaviorally. No one ever asks for or deserves sexual assault. And sexual assault consists of like rape, sexual abuse, again, molestation, incest, sexual harassment, right? And we know rape is sexual penetration without consent.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's disturbing. It could affect someone emotionally, physically, mentally. Everything that you can think about that could happen to a person. Some people are never able to recover from it.
Yeah.
They go through years and years of trauma. But I would always ask people to get help because you are deserving of more. You have more. That does not define your life. So I know it takes time. I had to heal from it. Many years in my 30s and in whatever. In my early 40s, don't ask me how old I am, but it was something that I was still dealing with, and I had to heal. I found that time, I found God, and then He healed me with kind of like looking in the mirror, accepting what happened, dealing with the pain, and trying to go through that process. So I would encourage that. You have to feel it, remember it, bring it back. And this book, The Scars I Come With, is how I healed, because I was able to write all about it right in here. And I cried because I had to relive all those moments to be able to share with people. Yeah. So I would always encourage you to find that outlet for your healing, for you to be able to express yourself, your feelings, and whether you write poetry or just write it down on a paper or speak in a mic about it, whatever, however, just let it out, because it's important. You have life, you have that does not define who you are, and you came for a purpose. Okay, so you might not want to share it with everybody, but you have to free yourself and you have to heal from it. You must, because it's important for you, for your well-being. Don't let those moments define who you are and take away your life. Because even though you're walking, you might not be living. So be careful and take care of you, right? Also, another one is sexual abuse, any type of sexual contact, behavior, or activity directed forward forced upon a child or a minor or an adult, because adult, it's not just limited to children.
Right.
A minor or an adult, people in older age, stuff happens.
Yeah.
And molestation, sexual abuse, incest, sexual contact behavior or activity between family. Uncles doing stuff to their nieces.
Boy.
Even fathers
To their
doing
nephews,
stuff
too.
to their daughters.
Yeah.
That's really terrible. Like, that's something that really grips at the soul and the heart of anybody with a heart and a soul. And, I don't know, Rue. It's really crazy.
It's tough. I mean, you want me to start it off with children, first, or
however
adults?
You want to dive, let's dive.
All right, let's go into the kids, our babies. First of all, before I start, pardon me.
It's our show. We do what we want.
That's right.
Thank you.
Of course, anytime.
Couldn't reach that.
I got you back. Yes. First of all, before we start, we do want to highlight that this is a very sensitive, topic, and it's an unfortunate topic that we have to, talk about.
I can leave it there because I'm going to reach it.
Oh, okay. I got you back. It's an unfortunate topic that we have to talk about, but we have to talk about it because it exists. It's something that has occurred. It's something that's still going on now, and unfortunately, it's something that's still going to continue to go on. But we have to do what we have to do and talk about it. And with prayer, we truly hope. Or believe, pardon me, that we that this is something that gets better. So with for children, I feel, pardon me, we feel very bad and hurt, for any child that ever had to go through any kind of molestation, no matter what age you are, no matter from who it has happened to, whether it's your parent, uncle, any relative that takes it upon themselves to lay hands on a child inappropriately, is disgusting. This is our stance on it. It's disgusting. We're not going to make it sound pretty in any kind of way. It's disgusting. And the thought process, the mind that the person must be going through to think that something like that is okay will never be okay in our eyes.
Well, it shouldn't be okay in anybody's eyes.
Yeah. Well,
it's really horrible. It's really horrible situation. Kind of like you, as you were talking, I was sitting here, I'm thinking about that little boy or that little girl that is being molested in the home, whose, mom may not be knowing, or dad may not be knowing, uncle may be coming over, or it could even be dad.
It can.
Or a stepdad.
It can.
And it's really, really troubling to think about that. And think about what that child is going through. It's really something. It's the world has a lot of evil in it, and we're just gonna be here, saying that please open your eyes to your children's surrounding. Be observant. I know sometimes you have to rush off to work, and you may just have a nephew or a stepdad that doesn't work, but they're there and they have to pick the kid up and all that stuff, and then you don't know, but try and be observant and try and make sure that your kids know, that they know, importantly, that no matter who or what say, if you tell someone, you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm going to hurt your mother. I'm going to hurt you. No matter what the threats are. We have to start doing that with our kids, right? I don't mean to cut you. I don't know if
No.
But
It's fine.
Make sure they know that no matter the threats that they hear, what the uncle, what the nephew, what the stepfather, what the father may be saying, you as a mother have a responsibility. Us as mother, we have to do our best to protect our babies. Because we're the ones that carry them for 9 months, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to be able to protect them as much as we can. When they're older and they're on their own, you might not be able to have all this stuff. But once they're kids, like they're at that age where people can do stuff to them, we have to be there in their ears, letting them know that whoever, whenever, if ever someone touches you inappropriately, tell you that you're gonna get in trouble, you come to me. Always come to your mother and let them know. I know it's hard, but we have to figure. We know our kids, so we have to be able to tell them that it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. I was just gonna add to that. Awesome points, by the way. Very, very awesome points. Very, very important things that Derry said. Those are all true things. What I want to add to it is just as parents as a whole, create that open door policy with your kids, where create that level of comfortability where your kids can feel okay and safe to come and talk to you. I think it starts, you don't know that if your child is going to go through this, but if you already have a relationship with your children where they don't feel like they can come to you, that's going to even make it even harder. So if they can't come to you for basic stuff, how can they feel comfortable to come to you like for that? So start from the basics where you can create that open door, relationship with you and your kids where they can tell you like things like what happened in school today. They could tell you about how they may be feeling, throughout the week. So when you build that rapport, like with your kids, when you build that type of relationship, God forbid, if something happens like that underneath the lines of molestation, they can come to you and say, Mom, Dad, this is going to be difficult for me to say. This is going to hurt. I don't know if you're going to even believe me, but something has been going on for such and such amount of time, and I have to share this with you. And that alone takes so much strength, because a child shouldn't have to go through that. But that takes so much strength. It's strength to endure it, and it's strength to find the courage to come and bring something like that to your parents, especially if it's happening to you from a relative. Because there have been instances where children have came and expressed themselves and said something like that has happened from a relative. And some parents are not receptive. They push their child away. And they're like, get out of here. Your uncle would never do that. Or get out of here. Your aunt would never do that. Or get out of here. Or this person would never do that. Like, who you been around? And they push it away and they ignore it. And now the parents is like, now the kids are like, I can't believe that you're not believing me. You think this is something that I will make up. And it's like, if your parents can't hear you, I can't even imagine who you think would even take the time out to hear you. So it's build that, with your kids, and so we can get down to the bottom of it and solve it, and it's just a tough topic.
Yeah,
because
even with adults, though.
yeah,
Even with adults that have been
pardon me.
victimized as children,
Mm-hmm.
they may find it hard or difficult to trust others. You know, they may even have intimacy issues with in their relationships, and that situation like affects you a lot of ways. And so, it's good to open up. It's good to find that one person to talk to. Um, Especially males, like men, like it happens to you. And
Mm-hmm.
my foundation, the Proof Foundation,
Yeah.
is open to helping women and children, and those children includes male and female,
Yeah.
and also adults.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's hard for you to figure out if someone is actually, and it comes back to, like, if your parents don't believe you, who else is going to believe you?
Yeah.
But there's ways of knowing if someone is not telling the truth or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for men that have been victimized as children to let that out, right? Don't be afraid. That doesn't make you less of a man.
No, not at all.
You're still fine. But yeah, so it's important that we're able to talk about things that affect us, whether it be in our childhood, when we're teenagers, adults, whenever, however, we have to be able to talk about it, to help
Right.
someone else, to share the signs, to share the things that you have ignored, that you should have, like, paid attention to,
Yeah.
right? So other people can say, you know what? I may need to check on something. You might be having that conversation to open up. I'm talking about the adults, the male adults,
Yeah.
that have been victimized as a child. You may have went through something. Someone may be listening to your story, and you talk about what you've been through,
Mm-hmm.
and then something may trigger a reaction, and they're thinking, my son is acting that way.
Mm.
And so we have to understand, when we go through certain things in our lives, it's not for us to shut it off.
Yeah.
I know it's hard, but first you have to heal from it, and then try to help someone who may be going through that, or
Mm-hmm.
try to help someone to prevent that from happening to them. Because it's like, to me, I always feel the people that get diagnosed with cancer and stuff like that, and I know I'm going a little off here,
It's okay.
and God healed you, and you come out of that alive and well, and you're able to jump and shout for joy. Share your story with someone, to help someone, to let them know that God is a healer, And it's the same thing with, if you've been, people sometimes will think, but why would he let that happen to me? Remember, now he gives us free will,
Free will,
right?
yes.
So it's our choices. And no, I'm not saying that a child have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like at that age where people are in their houses and molesting them. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. It's not the child's fault.
It's never the fault of someone who's been molested.
Never.
Or raped, or people who like to say, if they see girls, why you wear that short
Yeah.
dress, or
yeah.
you shouldn't have wore that dress or that skirt,
regardless
or
of
you were
your
over there
opinion.
tantalizing someone,
Yeah,
and stuff like that. That's not fair.
Yeah, regardless of your opinion on somebody's attire, that still doesn't give you the green light, to move forward and do whatever it is that you feel is fitting to do.
Sick and you need help.
Yeah. That's that person chose to wear that. They chose to wear that.
Yeah.
But it's like, you will still be held accountable, for your actions.
It is wrong.
Yeah.
It is wrong to violate anyone sexually. That's a total violation.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you? Who are you?
Yeah.
It's something else.
Yeah, you're not getting no consent, no consent, to do and any of this kind of stuff, and and especially any adult to a child thing is like, that's like, where's your mind at, to do stuff like that. Like
I
just
and you need help.
Yeah, that's
Get
exactly
help.
what it is. I'm not even gonna even try to even find any other angles. That's just sickening.
Yeah.
It's just sickening. I think about while we're on the topic of like sexual assault, molestation, and stuff like that, I think about like the pedophiles that are out here, the ones that just, you know, that might be sitting in the cars and across the street, like from the children's schools, and just they're just sitting in their car and just like watching and waiting for certain kids to walk past and try to abduct them, or, you know, stuff like that. And
yeah, like some of the men that travel to other countries where they know that they will get away with anything, and people literally would pay for little boys and girls. That right there, it's a problem. That's a huge problem. It's a huge business.
It is.
And it's sickening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so disturbing.
Now, speak on that. It is a business.
Like, some of these men are married with families.
Yeah.
They have kids.
Mm-hmm.
But they travel halfway across the world, and they go and find little boys and little girls to sleep with.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're sick and you need help.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't understand. I'm very happy that you highlighted that is a business like out here. That's something that's not really talked about.
Yeah.
Like, that really does happen. You know, they got people that they abduct, and they got them working in these shops.
Yes.
You know, just using them to do whatever, and then sexually assaulting them, and it's just crazy, just thinking about it. Like in this world, like the amount of sickness, like when it comes to like this, it's very high.
Yeah, I kind of wrote a little bit about that in my second book, The Child Within, because when it comes to like human trafficking and stuff like that, that's kind of like something I'm strongly against, and I like to, every chance I get, to highlight the fact that it's troubling, like humans being trafficked to go to other parts of the world, to become sex slaves, to become prostitutes, and young women who were trying to find themselves, who were trying to get themselves help, but they run into different people who take advantage of them, ship them across the world, though they can sleep with disgusting men. And it's really, really troubling, and I don't think there's enough light being shone on them, because it's, again, a big business.
Yeah, it's the pain as some of these children as they grow up, and I believe you touched on something earlier, where you say how it affects them in their adult age. It really does. It takes us a different type of strength for you as an adult that went through something, or things that occurred, especially if it occurred more than one time. Your engagement in a relationship, you know, with someone, and it's not that you don't love them, or the person is not loving you. It's just that certain things are going to be very sensitive, like, to them, as you and that person interact, because it might flash them back to, you know, something that wasn't so appealing, you know. But I feel like that is something to, when you get there, to express to your partner, like, look, listen, I have a past, you know, I went through certain things, walk with me, try to understand that I'm not pushing you, you know, away for whatever reason that you may think. I'm pushing you away because certain things psychologically mess with me. Certain things are traumatic, you know. So
that's why we got to heal.
Yes,
we have to heal, because it is unfair to go into any relationship without first knowing who you are, second, healing from your trauma, because it's, like I said, it's unfair to bring that into a relationship.
Yeah.
So it has to be, we understand all the other things, and speaking from a person who have been through trauma like that,
yes,
I could not take that into my relationship,
yeah,
because it's unfair to my partner.
Right.
You know, yes, my partner is going to be sympathetic with me. He was going to love me differently. He was going to love me the way that I should be loved. Me not healing from my past affects my future. It affects the person that I've said I do to, the person I've committed to. And you know, we have to also think about that. You know, don't start a relationship if you're not healed from something. You have to heal.
Yeah.
You know, it's a process.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people mask it. People say, "Oh, I'm fine," yet knowing they're not fine.
Yeah.
You know, and that's also important, something to think about. Anyone out there that may need to think about it, it's good to think and know that you yourself do not go half into a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you've been through all this trauma in your life. Make sure that you're healed from it.
Yeah, healing is very important, because it's like when you don't heal and you go forward and you step into something new, it's a selfish action, because that person is gonna get parts of you that's still connected somewhere else.
Yeah, like
You know?
it's important relationship wise. It's not a half and a half make a whole. It's a whole and whole make a whole. We both gotta be whole people. Deal with your trauma, deal with your issues, and stuff like that on your own. That's why it's important now for people. I mean, if you're already in a relationship, I guess you gotta deal with it. But like for people who are going into relationships or thinking about it, make sure you self-assess. Make sure you know who you are. Make sure you know that whatever it is that you've had to go through, it's good to share with. Honesty is good.
Yeah.
You need to let your partner know, well, listen, I've been through A, B, or C. I'll go read my book. Or, you know, something like that and all that stuff. But you also have to make sure that you are healed from it.
Yeah.
So that there's no triggers, you know, that will affect your future relationship with someone.
Yeah, it's better for you. It's better for you anyway, because don't let nobody put a timer on you on how fast you should jump into another relationship. Like, I don't care if that means that you have to be by yourself for a year or two. It's better that you get the proper healing.
Yeah.
Because it's like you don't get the proper healing. It's like you could fall back into certain places, and this new person had no idea what they were signing up for.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking that, okay, if we get together and we get into a relationship, I'm ready to get in a relationship, and I thought that you was ready to get into a relationship.
That's why dating is important. Figuring out who that person is, and even though sometimes you never know a person until years and years later, they might. But what I would say to that is that people have stages in life, that their 30s and 40s are different, and they change, and you have to be able to be willing to accept that change person in their different ages and years and people mindset. And if you're not changing, you're not growing. So people are like, but why are you changing? I am growing. I want different things. My approach to my outlook on life has changed from A to B. Because if I'm not growing, I'm being stagnant.
Yes.
And I think there's a whole thing, there's another discussion to go in depth about stuff like that.
Yeah, correct.
But healing is important, and find people who can help you. Deal with it. Seek help if you need to. Also, forgiveness is a big part of that. Forgiving someone that have hurt you in the past. Like, sometimes it could be really hard to forgive the people. That's
difficult.
But we all need a little forgiveness in our life.
No, right. I'm saying it's the honest part of the conversation is that it is difficult, but it's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
Right. So it's like it's a process, and I think that's what we also want to highlight, that it's a process. that you don't get there overnight.
Of course.
You know, so
especially if somebody violated your body.
Yeah.
It's like they took away a piece of your soul when they do what they have done to you. So
that's a fact.
It is a
That's
process.
That's a fact.
Healing.
I like how you just put that.
Yeah.
Took away a piece of your soul. That's deep, but it's so true.
It's a trauma that can live for years and years and years and years in your life. And like I said, if you don't heal from that, you have a problem. You know, you take that on and on and on. I'm talking to you. I'm reliving. Now I can relive my feelings because I've cried about it already.
I know.
Right? So it's kind of like when I emptied out in my book, I was emptying myself out in that book and dealing with that trauma. It took away something that didn't belong to them, a piece of my soul. And I had to get that soul back. And I got that soul back from healing. From healing, yeah. And that's a process. And it was not until in my 40s that I really healed from that.
Yeah.
And it took the crying, the expressing, the reliving to say, that's how I felt. Because after what happened to me happened, I went along my life as nothing had happened. So I never dealt with the pain. I've never dealt with what actually happened to me. Wow. And everything was just like, okay, I continue living and going to school and I'm working and I'm having my baby and I'm doing all of that stuff and did not deal with that, what happened to me. So it's a process.
That's not easy at all. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine the strength that you needed to have to have gone through that, and I know you recognize more now than before, because that God is with you, and your walk with Him is very strong. But you best believe that He was always with you, even when you didn't know Him.
Oh, I kind of always used to. I was thinking about this the other day, how I was like, someone was always with me.
Yeah. You know
because
what?
the stuff that I've been through.
Yeah, because some people didn't make it out of those situations.
I would have been 6 feet deep.
Yeah, some people die.
Yeah, and the mental drainage, like that thing, it was horrible to have dealt with something like that. And I think if I wasn't mentally strong, I probably would have flipped out. I would have had a mental illness. Yeah. Because it's traumatic. It's something, like I said, rips at you. So, yes, as I look back, I know that God was always with me. It's just sometimes the road and the choices I've made got me to, but you can't say that you're deserving. I would never say I'm deserving of something like that, but I still know that choices that I've made that put me in the position where I was could have been, if it was different, it would have been different. But everything happens for a reason and a purpose.
God knows best.
So now I can sit here and I can talk about it, and I can try to inspire and encourage people to be careful. Yeah. With people.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Know who you really having around you, right? And I just want to touch upon this really quick. Signs, right? There's visible signs and then there's invisible signs. And when I'm talking about signs, I'm talking about the people that's around you, relatives. Look for things in humor. Sometimes people slip nasty stuff in between humor, so, you could be a child, going into teenage years, and you can have a relative, around you, and they could say something and disguise it within humor and talk about some attire that you have on and oh yeah, that's like, ooh, that's nice. And it's like, you may not catch it the first time, but you heard them. But when you hear it the second time, and the third time, those are your signs. And those are the things that we have to pay attention to that can be disturbing. And you don't always have to wait for the physical action, to happen for you to tell somebody. I think sometimes people feel like, well, if the person didn't touch me, I shouldn't tell mom and dad. But verbally, if somebody is making you feel uncomfortable, those are steps for them to get to the physical part that they didn't get to yet. So sometimes we can even prevent the physical part from happening when you recognize the verbal. Because when you recognize the verbal and you say something to an adult, that adult that you say something to, whether it be your parents or whoever, they can address it, and then that can eliminate any further interactions with that person that's inappropriate. Right? So it's like we have to look for signs if it's visible.
Yeah. Stay prayed up.
Yeah. We must.
Yeah.
We must. There's
a lot of evil and wickedness out there, and some people don't even understand or realize that they're being used by the devil or the enemy to do wicked things to our children. So we have to keep them covered. We have to keep praying for them. For those of you who believe in the power of prayers, and I encourage you, because that's what I believe in. But I understand, everybody have their own thing, their own belief or
beliefs,
whatever.
yeah, right.
So I can only tell you what I know. Just pray for those kids, and pray that you're making the right decisions, and pray that the people that are come around your kids are good people that you can trust. Keep your eye open, because the enemy is always prowling, and
he is.
Yeah. So we have to be careful and be mindful and keep our eyes open.
Yeah.
There are ways to support survivors. We have to believe them. Don't blame them. Get them to a safe place. If we can, help them to seek medical treatment. Encourage them to seek mental health treatment. Help them to seek justice if we can, if they want to. Let them decide who they want to tell. And let them heal at their own pace. Because we can't say, oh, that happened to you 40 years ago or 30 years ago. Get over it. Who are you?
Who are
to
you?
say that.
Right.
Like, no.
You can't tell somebody
no,
that.
You really can't.
You can't. That's so insensitive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? But yeah, we're just here to tell you, share some stuff with you, try to bring dialogue into these topics that we're having.
Yeah, it's important.
It's important. There's too many stuff that we see around, too many stories we hear about stepdads and stepmoms and dads and, uncles and stuff that goes buried for years and years and nobody talks about it.
Yeah,
and we know that Uncle, I'm just going to do a random name here, Uncle Fred, everybody knows him to fondling with them or playing with them and lifting their dresses up or touching the boys inappropriately. And nobody says anything because maybe Uncle Fred has money. And maybe Uncle Fred brings all the gifts.
Yeah.
And maybe you can call Uncle Fred and Uncle Fred could give you $500. He could sell you, could cash up. Whatever you want, Uncle Fred's got it.
Yeah.
Don't turn a blind eye to what Uncle Fred is doing.
Right. All of that is a disguise. That's bribery, y'all. That's bribery.
Don't turn a blind eye to what Uncle Fred is doing.
I give you if you don't tell. That's bribery. Learning a child and understanding what it is that they like. They may want some ice cream or they may want a video game. I'll give you a video game or I'll give you this money and you don't tell. So and I just want to say it's not only family. You know, you can have a family friend that comes by too, that does these things. So it's like, I think what happens is when we think of the topic of molestation, the number one family member that always gets it bad automatically is uncles. Everybody always goes to uncles. Oh, watch the uncles. So it's like, while it can be family, it could be people who are not family as
like
well.
That stepfather.
Yeah, like, you know, just any family friend that just coming by, because those kind of ways and actions is in the spirit. You know, those are evil spirits that a person is carrying amongst themselves. It's within that person's character. And like we said earlier, those are people who need to get help. So it's like, it doesn't necessarily have to fit the family bloodline or anything like that. That could be any person that is just inappropriate, that does not know how to conduct themselves when they are around children.
They're sick and they need help. So
it's true. No.
Yeah. So we have to like be on alert for our kids' sakes, for everyone's sake. You know, nobody deserves to go through all of that. It's really not good.
No.
Right? So for those of you who have, I'll start with the adult male or female that have been victimized as a child and have never been able to let go of that. It has destroyed many of your relationships, and you feel that you're not able to move forward because somebody violated you. I would ask that you pause. I would ask you to reflect. I would ask you to take the time to relive that moment, as hard as it is, and feel that pain and cry if you need to, and take back your life. Take back that your soul, your heart, your love, everything that person or persons may have taken from you. You cannot go forward and let this person or persons control the rest of your life. You are worth more than that. You're deserving more than that. You are here for a purpose. Don't let anybody else take it away. Don't take away your purpose from you. Or the enemy has had you so long in that bondage. You need to break those shackles. And it's time to push forward, get help if you need to, you know, talk to someone that you trusted, write about it if you need to. If you like to write poetry, write those poems and let it out. Write that book and let it out. Share your story if it can help someone else see the signs and to, deal with what they may have dealt with. You are deserving much more than that bondage and that cage that you may have been living in for years. So do me a favor and do yourself a favor and walk in your purpose now. Now is the time. Okay, so that's my encouragement for all of you who have listened. And if you think that you may suspect someone that may need to hear that message, kindly share it with them so that they can find themselves and truly embrace who they are and not live or keep reliving what has happened to them, whether it be recent or years ago. It's important that they know that they are worthy.
Yeah, because it's very important to get the help, because you need to understand what the both of us are saying, that this is something that can't continue. It can't go on. And if you happen to be in a situation where your parents do not listen to you, if that happens to be you, we live in a time where we have so much access to different things out here. And when I say things, I'm talking about phone numbers, because there are services out here that you can reach out to. But the reason I'm saying that is that if you are in a situation where your parents do not listen to you, and you have attempted and you have tried, you have to do what you have to do to make sure that you get the help, because we know that healing is going to be a process for something like this. But you can't heal if you don't take the steps, right? Because if it's still going on, you can't heal in the process because it's still happening. So you have to take those steps to do what you have to do and get that help. And then that's when the healing will start.
Be strong. You have to be strong. So yeah, I think that does it for this episode of Two Chairs, One Chat. We are your hosts, Derry Cox.
Rudolph Thurman.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're looking forward and excited to bringing to you much more content, much more amazing topics. Some of them hard and difficult, like this one.
Yeah.
But we are here for a reason, and we want to encourage the dialogue and encourage you to look within, look at self, and do what you need to do and walk in your true purpose, okay? Mm-hmm. So you can find us on Instagram at Two Chairs, One Chat. We're on YouTube, Two Chairs, One Chat. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, tell us something.
Yeah.
If there's something you want us to talk about, you can also let us know in the comment section.
Or even in our email. Like email us like topics that you...
twosharesonechat@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
We're there. Our personal handles, I am Derry Cox and Derry's Poetry Lounge. And
my personal handle is Poetry is Visual. That's Poetry IZ Visual.
Yay. Until next time, who's chatting in the chairs?
We are.